Oliver, if you want to tell a story, I can translate it into Haida.
It'll be broken.
All right, we're ready to get started?
Jane will help me.
All right, we're going to start off our...
Ben will help me.
We're going to start off again our storytelling session. And we're going to open up the floor for anyone who'd like to tell a story. And if you only know it in English, then feel free to tell it in English. And then obviously Escalas and Quajut could help us translate it. And so we know how it would sound in Podkill. So we just wanted to make sure and let you folks, or open the floor up to anyone who'd like to continue on our program by telling a good story that they'd like to share.
Don't everybody volunteer.
One at a time, please.
I'll start.
Todd?
I'll come up here. I was hoping I would be able to tell this in Hudkill, but I don't have enough, language
Well,
to do
say
it.
it, and when you need
Yeah.
a word, one of us will help you. Ben, too. Okay.
So, I'm just gonna go ahead and do it in English. Well, let's see if I could try. Dinan Lakunaslu Hogini what is it? Kwakjaga Kunanu Hol Gandang. So what I'm trying to say, when my Nana was young, she used to go trolling after her first husband passed, William Peel. And so she had to provide for her young children. And I was told that she used to go out hand trolling. She would use a rowboat and to go get fish, and that she only wore dresses. My Nana, I never saw her my whole life wear a pair of pants, and that's what all the elders that I've met through the years told me about, that she always wore dresses and high heels in the boat too. Yeah. And so I just, wanted to share that because I have so much admiration for our elders and the things that, what people had to do, to survive back in the day, to provide for their family. And she used to tell me she worked in the cannery, and they used to make 50 cents an hour. Yeah, I guess that was a lot of money back then. But that's something I want to learn to be able to tell in Hudkill, because that's something that I'm proud to share, with people. What a strong woman she was. Hoa.
I think you should try it in Haida, because you're pretty good. Saan zet klaal goed ulken sleet les angoleg le kili gungun. Wagen lau hau las on hau in gangan. Wagen hawanen gum kun le giandang gangan. De man adzi gin las onul is le gianda gangan. Eskeno langa gin. How do you say high heel? Eska. Escape long good. Escape gesnoosen escape.
Escape.
Escape. Escape.
Goesroeten Sudan.
High heels.
En die ons is ken die gaat om de man gehangen. Sealaska heels. Sealaska high heels.
Close enough.
For high heels?
What?
High heels?
What?
Do you know,
The sky. Phyllis.
Sanu, high heels, had kith suda.
High heels in zonder schoenen ken nie. High heels in zonder schoenen.
She said, Hilda.
All right, Delores, Jane, Jenny. Hot kills, Sealaska, high heels.
I don't know. High heels. Stijgende.
I would make the comment that
Look in the
at
dictionary.
that time, people, our women didn't, maybe they didn't even have shoes. Let alone high heels.
I was talking about how my Nana used to go trolling and she would wear a dress and high heels. That's why we're wondering.
All our women,
Mother used to
even Auntie Selena was in a dress when she went to the beach to
Cedar
get
and high
gumboots
heels.
or any big clams in the dress. They never wore pants like that.
Angela's looking in the dictionary for high heels.
Oh, good.
That was
In the dictionary.
we didn't think it was amusing or funny then. It was just something they did, like Granny and Mom, they didn't. My mom later on wore their pants when she worked on salmon in Heidelberg. I was looking at some pictures and my mom had pants on. My mom wasn't fat like me, she was real slim. But she had pants and she was working on salmon to put in the smokehouse. And I think most of our native women did that
Hard
they didn't
kitkasu.
wear pants.
She didn't get
No,
Hard kitkasu.
Delores said, had kishgusu.
oh, okay, gamnakun, gyandangan, gamnakun, jade, gyandangan, it gas unanut gyandas, tiden hango was talk on talk on was loose get all gandogini. Wagen tiden I was slow get got gandong. Oh, well, it was slow. It got gandogini. Wagen the Oslo Umjugan Chinos Uncle Oslo get dog down kini Wagen Hock Slow Un Hagandas Gas Nijangan Hasi Nijanga along a
Charmin
Quaggy
That's what they used to spell.
plant kaini. Come demano gander lan katska lagini. Okay.
So, what would you like it, Christy? Let's get Christy, we'll think of high heels after. We're slowing everybody up.
You're on a really go
Okay,
fast.
Oliver, you tell a story about fishing.
Well, I get at the moment.
Just say it in English and I'll translate.
No, I was going to tell one. Aguilo, they are sugen. Chana Sam Douglas o Elsie o Ina sa. A Jew o Ina slow. Who klukheiding slow. They go Hansen no klukheiding and they were trapping. We see it. It's been so many years since I talk either. But they go last Kuso Oslo. Sam, they Kuso. The man on Kudulskini was anti-Elsia. So, how do you say time and height clock? Time.
Cusket?
That's good.
Time.
That's good.
Cusket. They go the Cusket slow. Half hour ahead of alarm whole skating song. Half hour got slow. Alarm Cusket Gini wa. They go suitken. Elsie, don't away. The reading of the one of Sam get oh God, Klatska Gangwa. We didn't have telephones them days. Come telephone each down, but they go the one of funny. How do you say funny? Kaya, yeah. The one of Kaya, the one of Dunklau Sam Duncan, the one of Gooding Tadangwa. Ja Sam. Elsie Dungo Kusuasa. He looked lol came one. The one of class garden. Because they didn't have telephone in them days. But Uncle Dago was trying to get him to talk to him, and all goose was low. And finally he, old Sutkin, and Sam Demano, Klatskogan, and Outlaw, who Dago holds Kusohangen and Klatskogan. And I was telling you, I'll interpret myself because I kind of broke it up a little bit. Sam Douglas was our uncle, but we called him Chana Sam Douglas. During the days when he real early on, when my dad and all of them were real young, he just got married to Auntie Elsie. And he was very lonesome for her. And Uncle Dago was very funny. He was a funny man. He was our jokester in the village. If he couldn't make people laugh, he got up and he danced and he sang sang in a Haida and even in English. And so he kept trying to get Uncle Sam Douglas to speak up because he just got married and they were out trapping and they wouldn't speak, so Dago figured a way to go ahead and get him to at least try to come loose from start talking to him. He set the clock ahead a half hour so it looked like they had telephone. Telephones were just coming out during them days. That was way back when. And about that time, half hour later, the alarm went off, and Dago went over and acted like that was a telephone. That these were, Elsie, is that you? Boy, your husband Sam's really lonesome for you. He won't even talk to me. And this really happened. This is a real true story. When Haida's, like I was telling son, when Haida's got good stories, it belongs to the village. I don't care how bad they were, the things they did, it belonged to the village. They told on themselves. They always did. So everybody would have a big laugh out of it. But anyway, about that time, finally Sam looked up at him and just broke out laughing. He finally started talking to Dago. That story went around the village, and if there's anybody older, they still know it. Because, everyone loved each other, and they never put each other's down. They told stories. You couldn't tell a good story and not made it bad about people. You didn't tell it. And Chinook Kit, he said, if you want to talk about people, don't talk to me. He wouldn't. You don't talk about each other. If you can't tell something good, don't tell anybody nothing. He was one of our elders. He was best Haida. Back in the olden days, that's the way the Haidas were. But I'll never forgot that. My dad told me that story. We used to camp a lot. We were one of the ones that did our camping. We camped every year when I got out of school. So,
Could I ask a question, Tim? Is that Dago, was that Nana Flora's husband?
Yep.
Okay. I never knew him, but I fell in love with her. I don't know, she swears I was her sister from back, but I never did know Dago. He was gone before my time.
Yeah, Dago was a good man.
That's what I knew.
The one Allah was there. They were just like Joyce's dad over in Haida, like old man Joe Weir.
Oh, yeah.
Dago and Joe Weir were like each other. They were good people, told good stories.
Yeah, he had a boat named Patsy Lou. And Dinks used to tease Dogboy about it, and they called their boat Patchy Lou.
At that time, we didn't have TV or radio, so we had to listen to our elders that came by to tell us stories. And that's why my family had lots of elder men coming in, especially since my mother was a good cook. And my dad always brought in lots of food, so they always had plenty of food. And if somebody came, Daddy would say, don't choose, let them go out hungry. They sit down, he would sit down himself and make tea or bring out food for them to eat. That's the way our dad was. My brother knows that. And when people came, well, we can eat hot. There's a difference between the women, they call their father hot, and the men call them hung. The hot. Come, taquitas, I'm thinking about other things, and my mouth getting dry. kidas hadang taking kite akira tau kwan gang hakot wang gwa dan sidiran eslu dan kwat slu dengan sidang oh how fun Dangson.
Anthony.
All three guys you want.
Story.
Ben's looking at you, he's wanting you to tell.
Put on the pressure button.
I want to thank Oliver for inspiring some of the words and influencing maybe the possibilities of sharing stories about our people before us. My grandfather, my non, Aunt Linda Francotillo and Esther Nix would sit on the phone for hours and hours laughing and often wondered what they said, but my non spoke the third dialect of Haida language, and we didn't really pay attention until we became older, that we had an interest in language, and then knowing that we were a little bit different in Sitka. But in Sitka, my grandfather, was one of the Tlingit people knew he was a really great hunter because he was Haida, and when he taught my brothers how to hunt and fish, and he used to tell them that if you drink Devil's Club, it would bring you good luck. So they always drink Devil's Club, and that's how I came up with what I call in Haida, Sakti Shawat Yuhak Duasab. I go by the Devil's Club woman because of the love of my grandfather's time he spent with Devil's Club. He made Devil's Club juice all of the time. There was gallons of it everywhere in the house. So, and they were really good hunters, and they were respected as good hunters in Sitka. So I wanted to remember that story because those times when we talk about it, that we could share with our children some of the things that, Delores had told us years ago. When hiders go out and pick, they only take one thing at a time. They don't go out and this, that, and the other thing, because that way when they're harvesting it, that they're showing respect and doing it properly, preserving. So I appreciate, when I was being brought up in Sitka, we had everything. We had the herring eggs, we had all of the stuff, and always had deer, guacan. And when I moved here from Sitka, a lot of the people didn't gather the way we did in Sitka, so it was really kind of hard to try to influence people to do it, go out and gather. But those are important things that we don't do and we don't talk about because we don't have the men going out and influencing younger boys how to do it properly and safely. But I truly miss those days because I don't get deer meat like we used to in the old days. And it's kind of a shame because, when you're brought up with all of the things like the shikshaftin or the Hudson Bay tea, all of the medicines that you believe in that are gonna keep you healthy. So those are the kind of things and stories that I want to reflect upon, because if we forget and we don't tell our children, they're not going to know some of the things about our people. And also one of the things that I wanted to say is my grandfather, David Loops, Frank's sister, Clara, used to come up to here. She came here and she would teach us Haida songs. And I was really proud of, one day she came up and brought me a cedar hat. So I was really proud, and I still have that in my cedar hat box. And really proud that she would come here and teach Haidas, like in Sitka when I was, Esther Littlefield says, I know you're Haida, so I'm gonna teach you, and I know no one else will. So those types of influences, the things that our elders put upon us that we can pass on to our children and have the great positive influence that we have. Those are the kind of stories that I want to share, that we can pass on, and not to forget some of our people who have a great impact in our lives. So, hello.
Oh,
Iyan ang sugang.
Loris, you had told a story with your sister about respect, and I think you told it earlier this week about the crabs. And we used it at the school to show the kids, and it really impacted them, you know, about what it means. And some of the stories that I knew growing up were the moldy colored story. I knew about the new. Grandma used to tell us about when the man tied the knife and dove into to kill it. And then I'm thinking about mostly the respect stories. Those really, if you could tell those in Haida, then those are the ones that really seem to have an impact on the young. I showed it to high school students, and it seemed like, however you said it in Haida and then you said it in English, and when it was being explained, it seemed to have oh that's why they tell us. And there's a lot of stories, transformation stories too. But I'd like to hear anything you have about respecting food. That was the biggest one I always heard. Why you should respect your food and not talk bad or stuff like that. That would help me show kids that reason.
Yeah.
You are Jane.
See, there's another story that I think it fit in with that, Lisa. It's about the giant halibut. The halibut that swallowed the little boy. That comes from around Haida camp. That would be a good one for him to learn too, because he was making fun of him, calling him Portliwats, people, big mouths, and kicking him. And they warned him, no. He kept it up, and it says there's a swirl of water, that boy screamed and disappeared. So the men were called, and they came ashore and found out what happened. So they went out, and this is the place when they fished, they didn't talk to their lines. Because if you talk to a line, you get fish that's too big. So they start talking, and somebody hooked one, and they start pulling it up, and they thought maybe it was bringing up part of the seabed because they could see it coming up, and there was kelp and barnacles on it. And then when it got close, it was a giant halibut. I forget its name, but they called the other boats close, and they start paddling toward the shore, drawing it close, till they got it in shallow water, then they harpooned it. And they brought it ashore, and they opened it up, and that boy was inside that halibut's stomach. And they discussed it and decided that the punishment was too great for the taboo this boy violated. So they took that halibut and they carried it up. There's a mountain there, it's flat. They carried it up there and laid it down to face the ocean. And that was its punishment. For all eternity it could see the ocean, but it could never get back. And my dad said old people used to go up there once in a while, and the bones are still there. And he said the backbone was about this big around, because that thing was about 20 feet long.
You want me to carry anything up?
So that was one of the stories about why you're not supposed to make fun of those things, because it'll come back on you.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
Since he was talking about halibut, I'll tell how
I'm going after.
we used to dry halibut
Dolores
when
is
I
done
was
because
a child.
Sometimes she doesn't know what hide
What
or
was Hagut Tana Slu? Hagut Hilada Slu? What was Alt Adao Tigini? Adi Alt Ada Adi Akia Hilada Gini Hungwa. We're going Alt Ada get Tiaskenu. Good at Hyang de Guinea, Hyang de Gas, Kristovich is the Guinea, what Azik als der Gum Azi Atlagang and Asilu Adi. What I know, is the Tagang Slu Azi. Hiladas as kunas isn't filet I'd in an slow Ingo what was skin.
Skunk rock.
No, rock.
Qua.
Ingo quad is the skin of good. They left it all night.
Yeah,
Isn't it so that?
all night. Oh, you can kill ice, you can go. Sing yes slow.
We're gonna come.
Come
The
here.
Sudan, Linda. Sing yes slow. We're gonna sing I is the slow. Sing yes slow.
Sing yes slow. It's kill you up then.
We're gonna sing I. Azi Tlagungini. We're gonna.
Hila, bedoel heel. Kom maar aan het listen.
Come on, and listen slow. A seed load. Azi ink.
Adi hila dan.
Adi hila de gini. A sea hilgaskin. A nacht is the gini. Wag an kals a day sino eat on coffee ding was slow. Eat on kals a day. Teacher eat on coffee ding gini. Litulang in tiayan agan. Dak an unsit. Yeah.
Wat it'll peck the game.
Yeah. When we were drying halibut, when I was a child, they killed 2 crows and they would hang them on either side of the racks, and so that it would remind the crows, if you go near our fish, you're going to die. And so it kept the crows and seagulls and eagles away. But when they were, after they filleted the fish, they would put rocks on it and keep it on the fish overnight. And we got it in April because there's no blowflies then. And the westerly winds blow, so when you hang it outside, it drip dries. So that's why they did it in April, before the flies were around. And then when the crows, when we killed those 2 crows and hung them on either side of the racks, their relatives would be really mad at us. They'd walk around quarreling at us, really furious that we killed these 2 crows. Then, after we took them down, after we took the racks down and put the 2 crows down on the ground, the crows used to drag them around to remind us we killed them.
That's so smart.
What else do I add to that story?
That's enough.
She's my boss.
I was hiding.
Yeah.
Where's my pot? Oh, I should do. You want me to take anything out?
No, I'm fine.
I was hiding.
You know, one of the things they really had respect for was when my mother was picking berries, she always talked to the bears. She'd always say to the bears, I'm picking berries for winter, just like you, but I'm going to, I don't want you to bother us and we won't bother you. And so they always talked to the bears. And then another thing that Haidas used to do when they went after cockles, cockles wash ashore at Toe Hill. And so when the cockles wash ashore, all you have to do is watch the seagulls. Where the seagulls are is where the cockles will be. You don't have to go around hunting for it. The cockles wash ashore and you just go with gunny sacks and fill your bags. And also ocean scallops.
Abalones do. Cold weather. They wash the shore out north.
What would that sound like with your mom talking to the bears? What would that dialogue sound like?
Tan al gusislu demanu gum tlakwanan la sungini al gusislu tengal gusis kingangut al gusugini had kilka gum nga aji tawe anu ng wagun daw tan tawe ting kadasas and agaden sa ilki ting sinu tawe ting gyandasa asi what's gone is askio it anga eating gum ting ya at in klagang sang hook anul sugin yeah.
How did you say halibut again in Haida? So,
Forget it.
I ask you, that's why I hear you. Aguat lagui dong chanigo. Mijo o kaungum. Where's the son? You leave too?
Gistu?
Hagu. Yek hagu gutling istiginiu dungya hard gale to gale eden. Asil gutling islu kanichiam hin sugini. Dling lukune slukum atten ling islangang. Eat la tu dunkian and yet cloudungum. I was telling them that where we got our halibut was Shagrock, and it was the Canaslees land. That's where they used to get their halibut. And so when we went to get halibut there, my aunt would say to us, when you grow up, you have to ask us. You can't just go there to get the halibut. So that's what I was just telling them, that it was their land, the Canaslee land at Shagrock, where they, and one time, my brother Victor, he said under his breath to Kanikathiang, who wants to be here at this big pile of rocks? And Kanikathiang, she ran around and she said, we had a war with your relatives and we won this place. So when we went home, we said to our mother, Kanikathiang said she had a war with our relatives over this pile of rocks. And mother said, I won't talk about it. So that was the end of the conversation. So apparently there was kind of a controversy over that place where they got the halibut. So when we went, we had to go with Canaslee.
I'm gonna don't be soaking. Mijo or Kaungwang, what they call the beach.
Chausalit.
South Salit. Sandbar, down South Salit sandbar. Chivo, they had the big puddles, big water puddles when the gen handle for Egypt. Now help it down. Sino the Sudan, sino Kalgangun, help it again. Help it. Hagu, don't chinio. While Kagyang slow.
Hagwe.
Hagwe. Ajige or Hila slow. Handle. It got caught there. How do you say? It got caught in one of those puddles. down there along the sandbar. And dung chini old Kangon. And Aji Halibut. He wants he caught it. How does he say that? I can't even remember anything of that. But here's what I was trying
And
to.
it's legal.
Yeah.
It's an.
Yeah. He was walking around down the sandbar and seeing these big puddles we had down there on our sandbar in Heidelberg. That's what they used to have before they dug all that out of there. And your Chinook got about 180-pound halibut right out of that water. He got beyond the lagoon, and he caught it right there when the tide was out, and caught it right on the beach right there, and everybody was surprised. There's so much halibut out in front of the beach out there anyway, but your Chinook,
Yeah.
and that Aji one Wadlawano Kusawangwa. Hit the story I was trying to tell you. Your Chana Miju, he was walking around down the beach down there, and he'd seen these big puddles. He'd seen the waves all around inside there, and he was a big 180-pound halibut got stuck inside one of those puddles, and he ran in there and got it. They was trying to figure out here. He lived way down. He lived down a little way down the other way, and everybody was looking at him. He was dragging a big about 180-pound halibut home from the beach, walking around. He caught it on the beach. But that was two of them. That was not only him. Our Chana, he got one too. But there was so much halibut out in front of the sandbars there because of the creek full of fish. But your Chana story, that was one of the good ones because he's still going around yet. People never forget that here. He caught lots of halibut in them areas. She's looking at him. She says, "Gusto tung soon." Cutie pie. Nagkonoso. Tlanito.
It would be good if somebody remembers a story their grandfather told and I could translate for their grandmother.
Okay. Is there any others that you folks like to share that for Lloris to translate? And then maybe we'll have a stretch break in a little bit.
So Chuck Nackholm used to talk about, I know it's the worldview, but it feels like a story to me about the edge of the knife.
Oh.
How that came about, or the history of
The philosophy.
Well,
the worldview.
Well, they asked me if I would translate, and I knew I couldn't do it without somebody who could read and write. And so I went to Linda, and because Ben wasn't working there yet, so I went to Linda, and Linda, they had been looking for somebody for over a year, right, Linda?
Mm-hmm.
And so they asked me if I would translate, and I went to Linda and called Guai and said Linda will translate, and she really helped a lot because she knows so many words. I would get stuck with a word and Linda would know it right away. So it took us, I think, only less than a week, to translate our northern dialect. And she typed it up and we got it to them. And it took the southern dialect, it took them 6 months, and they had less to say than we did. So it was really interesting that she and I could translate it that fast. But toward the end, Ben was there, and he helped us too the last couple days. And Ben was in it, and I didn't know. It's a good thing I didn't know when I was translating it. They had a great big long introduction for the old person, Nani one to say. And I said to Kwai, I said, an old person is not going to remember that long speech. You got to give it to somebody young. So they gave it to Leo. And Leo is so smart. He got a, I have a hearing aid battery that you can, it's not in my pocket, but he got this little thing for a hearing aid. And because Haidas don't talk like the Tlingits, Haidas talk and say, awas agui hinut tutsukini. They don't speak real fast. They speak and they think about what they said in Haida. They don't just say it. And so I was saying it that way when I was translating it to Linda. So here, Leo, I think he's related to some of the people here. Anyway, Leo Gagnon, he recorded it. And so he listened. Although he didn't even have to memorize the lines, he had this big long speech, and he really sounded impressive in the movie because he could say it all. But we really had fun doing it, didn't we, Linda? It was just a lot of fun working together, and she'd give me the sentences, and I'd go home and use the dictionary. But because when you learn it from the dictionary, you forget. So I'd forget, and then I'd say to Linda, I forgot that word. And then she'd tell me what it was. She was really good at correcting what I was saying, too. Sometimes I said things wrong, and she would correct. But they had other people look at it, too. Joan Hart and Primrose Adams, and what was his name in Vancouver? Lawrence Bell. So it wasn't just me. It was a lot of people who worked on it. So it was exciting. And the one that was the best Haida speaker, Ben, had one line.
That was powerful.
So anyway, they're going to have it in Heidelberg. Somebody was just telling me you were, I guess, Ben.
In Ketchikan, they're going to do both.
Next month?
Why hasn't told me exactly?
After the New Year's,
After the New
I
Year.
heard.
Oh, okay.
Now, she was asking about Edge of the Knife, and I think I know what you're talking about. Is it what Chuck had? What Nanaji made?
The guy.
Yaatskinganu. Sinu Hida. Aji Stingwai Tagayu Yaatskinganu. Ijin? Gums ang den Pingans Blue. Den Glidistasa.
Asitha took Kyagan Aji Gintlan Gooses Gudek Itlogas Athu Aji. It's like being at the edge of a knife. Had Kiltlings Adas. Asitha took Kyagan.
Sisu den Atadaya.
Gwai you took Su.
Oh.
It's a Haida expression, so that, things that are just almost being lost, or it's like being at the edge of a knife, and so that's why he named it that. But I guess he's been wanting to write a play since he was in high school, because April taught him in grade school, in high school. And she said he was always writing plays, so she said she wasn't surprised that he wrote a play. But I kept telling him he should write a comedy, because especially old Haidas, I'll be talking to Jane, and she'll say to me, I'm not even talking about that subject. What are you talking about? She said, there's so many funny things in Haida. You know, Haidas, you tell a story in English, it's not even funny, but you tell a story in Haida, and it's really hilarious. Mostly making fun of yourself. I'll never forget, I was working in the hospital, and I could hear people speaking Haida. And they were making fun of, because they're waiting to see the eye doctor. And they're talking about themselves, how they were fiddling around because they couldn't see too good. And one of them said, I touched a woman in the wrong place. He said, I didn't mean to, but I couldn't see. I had to start laughing. And so they were really shocked that I knew how to, that I understood them.
Here I ask how to say that in Hotfield.
You should have said, can I announce it over the air?
But that's how the Haida language is. It's not making fun of anyone, but it's making fun of themselves or something that happened to them. I wish I could translate Sylvester's story about first going to Presbytery. Maybe Mr. Morrison knows it.
What's that?
Sylvester's story about going to the city.
Sabach.
Presbyterian. He used to tell the story about they picked him to go to the Presbyterian meeting somewhere in Minneapolis or someplace. And it was July and it was real cold in Heidelberg, so Frida made him wear an overcoat. And he had this overcoat on. He got to Seattle and it was really, really hot. But he didn't, the overcoat was so expensive, so he didn't want to take it off and lose it, so he kept using it. He was just sweating. And he got on the escalator and his cap kind of fell, so he bent down to get it, and he lifted up this woman's skirt. She turned around and really got mad at him. And he tried to apologize, explained. By then they got to the top and she just took off. and then he said he got to wherever it was, Minneapolis or wherever it was. He never saw those revolving doors. And he said he's sweating real hard with his overcoat. He got just mad. He saw a garbage can. He grabbed that expensive garbage overcoat and he threw it into the garbage. And then he was scared. He kept standing there looking at the revolving door. He didn't know there was doors beside it. And he was standing there looking at the revolving door, and a woman behind him pushed him. When he told it, it was so funny. You'd be crying, you'd be laughing so hard, because he had a really good way of saying, Ning wasn't and got it go, it's an what's go a queer deal. She pushed me way over. It's just really funny. I wish somebody knew that story, because it's just hilarious when it's told right. Because I wonder if you know of someone who could tell it.
I know the one about my dad and Simon going to World Exposition in San Diego. It was just the end of the fishing season. They were on the dock and the sailing sloop was coming in. So they watched. Simon talked good English and Dad had a tough time with English. And that sailboat came alongside the dock, so him and Simon helped tie it up. It was a dentist named Dr. Good. And same age as Dad, about 19, 20 years old. And so the captain started talking to him. They need experienced crew. Well, they just finished sailing, and Simon convinced that Dr. Good they were experienced sailors. So he hired them. And they left Heidelberg, and they're going down to Johnson Straits, and it got foggy. And so they were going kind of slow, and they run over a gill net, and so the fishermen start shooting at them with a rifle. So Dad and Simon, they took cover, and that Dr. Good got his gun, and he started shooting back. Anyway, they finally got out of the fog, and I'm going to tell it anyway. But anyway, they were going along, and Simon started yelling for my dad. He was standing by the railing. And Dad said, "What's wrong? What is it?" He went over and he pointed down. He said, "Civilization." It was a condom drifting by. But they got to Seattle, and the doctor's daughter wanted Dad to go up to the store with her. They pulled in Elliott Bay. And so he went up with her. And when they got to First Avenue somewhere, there was these trolley cars. Gee, he said, was noisy, everything, bells ringing and lights. She started across the street, and he said, I was like a little kid. I grabbed the back of her coat and held on all across the street. So anyway, they finally got paid off, and his uncle, Henry Duncan, Ben Duncan's brother, had a job at the Bon Marché. He was a night watchman. So they went to his place. He offered to let them stay for a few days. And he told them, you folks don't do like everybody else. Don't just stop here. Keep going. There's lots of stuff to see. Simon said, yeah, I was reading about this Pacific World Exposition, 1935, I think it was, 34, 35 in San Diego. So they decided to go, and it cost them $20 to go on a limousine to San Diego. And so there they were walking through two Haidas, and Dad had a little box camera. And one part of the exposition was a nudist camp. And so there was Simon and Dad, two Haidas, walking through looking at everything. And finally they decided to head home. And they got on the limousine, went to San Francisco. And Simon was real adventurous. They started wandering around while Dad was... He had bad back because one leg was short. He had polio, so he'd have trouble with his back. And Simon was gone, so Dad decided to go for a walk, and he put on his top coat. And he was walking around. He said, got warm, so he hung it over his arm. And then he realized he didn't know how to get back to his hotel. And there was a young woman standing there, not far from him. So he went over, and he asked, do you know where my hotel is? So she gave him instructions, and he said he couldn't remember it because it was English. So finally he was going to ask her to show him where it was, but what he said was, you want to go to my hotel with me? And there's a man standing there, must be his husband, said, gee, boy, punched me right in the mouth. He said he hit me so hard I must did backflip because I was still standing there with my coat hanging over my arm. And he said I was kind of dizzy and I wandered back to the room. I lay down, went to sleep. And when Simon came in, he didn't wake me up. In the morning, I woke up. I couldn't talk because my lips were scabbed together. And so Simon said, I know where the Marine Hospital is. I'll take you there. So they went to Marine Hospital, and Corman says, let me see. He looked at Dad's lips. He said, Dad said he grabbed my lips and he yanked them apart. And he put iodine on them. He said all he could do was Corman's after trying to blow on it. And so finally, when he come out, Simon started laughing. He says, pardon me, he said, where'd you get that lipstick? So anyway, they got back on that limousine and they got back to Seattle. But he would run into some of the darndest things when he's traveling, you know. They were in San Francisco too. They went to a restaurant to get something to eat. And they had these bowls of water on the table. And him and Simon talked about it for quite a while. And finally Simon said, I think it's a Chinaman's bowl. You know, soup without a spoon, you just drink it. So they They were drinking from the finger bowls. They didn't know it. And anyway, when they finally got home, the next summer, Dad said they went into Ketchikan, and he was going to go up. Maybe I told this already. They're going to go to Union Cafe. It was up where the Chief Johnson pole used to be. And Clarence Beale never been to a restaurant. And so Dad was taking him up there. He's a little bit older than Dad. And he started practicing what he's going to order. He was walking along saying, bacon and eggs, bacon and eggs, bacon and eggs. And they finally got there and they sat down. The waiter came over and says, what do you guys want? Bacon and eggs. He said, how you like your eggs? Real good. Dad said that waiter looked at him like he was disgusted with us. So Dad told Clarence, next time when they ask you that, you tell them you want it sunny side up or sunny side down. So that was Clarence's first experience in a restaurant. So I used to hear all these stories. Simon Natcon was another goofy one. Him and Dago and some of those others. You never knew. Well, what's his name? George Vandal. Heidelberg was almost in open war in 1948 because they wanted to go back to reservations. Some of them did, some of them didn't. And the ones that did, they wanted control of the fish and all the rest. And the others figured, well, if we become reservation, we can't go to the bars anymore. And so it was getting pretty hot, the argument. And then George Vandal walked in and he just had the man from the solicitor's office, this short Jewish lawyer named Mr. Curry. He had double-breasted gray suit and a big bag, real curly hair. So when he walked in, everybody was arguing and pushing each other. So when George Vandal walked in, he was one of the Raven Chiefs, but we didn't talk about those things. Oh, oh, oh. He went like that. Everybody stopped, they sit down. He went up there and he said, I know we have a big thing to talk about. And he said, but before we make a decision, I think we should listen to Mr. Curry. After all, he's our liar. And the whole place just broke in laughter. And it took all the attention out of the room. But he did it deliberately. But that's how they would do it, to make sure there's no fighting, is they'd always have something funny to say. And you never know when they're going to be pulling your leg, so you have to pay attention. What's his name? Jimmy Denso was the choir leader. And they were getting ready to sing, and Paul Charles was always clearing his throat. He'd go like, Finally, Conda says to him, Paul, when you get through blowing your throat, we'll sing. So anyway.
That's good. Oh, well.
So
Looks
you
like
can translate all those to Haida.
Yeah, we'll get right on it, right? Let's take a few minute break and then we'll wrap it up for today.
Yeah.
Oh, and also though, it's worth mentioning though too, that this room, we only have access to this room is because Alfie and the Smell Gap group actually lent it to us and made sure that we had a good safe place, good space, apart from what the program to actually do this. So how about Alfie? How about the Smell Gap group? Right?
Did they leave that guilt for us?
Just a reminder, we should set a date for.
Yes, so when we come back, let's have some closing words and let's talk about the next time we'll get together, which will likely be in Seattle.